Here's how to make an Impact MX. Here are the stats for the Impact MX. The center of gravity is 10.3 centimeters from the front and 9.8 centimeters from the back. The overall length is 19.7 centimeters, and the mass for the original Impact MX is 18.4 grams. Here are the pens you will need. 1 RSVP. You can use an RSVP Colors or any of the other RSVP models. 2 hybrid gel grips, and 1 Impact RT. If you want a wider variety of colors, you can use Spokos grips instead of using the Impact RT grip. Here are some extra materials you will need. 5 or 6 number 6S brass washers. 1 1.5 gram screw or nail. In Khan's original tutorial, he uses a galvanized nail that comes in a large box, and he got them from Home Depot. Unfortunately, I don't know the reference for that, but for my Impact MXs, I use these, and these are also 1.5 grams, and they feel really nice. 1 size 32 or 33 rubber band. 1 black and 1 silver Sharpie. I will note that the Sharpie ink tends to fade over time, so I recommend getting some enamel paint markers in both silver and black so that the paint won't fade. Some glue dots or sticky tack. Some glue sticks and a hot glue gun. 1 binder clip. If you want to waterproof your mod, 1 tube of flowable silicone, and 1 bottle of Superglue. I will let you know that because of how bad Superglue can mess up your mod and how annoying it is to handle Superglue, you can actually make this mod without Superglue, like this Impact MX over here. Khan actually had a different set of steps just in case you didn't want to use Superglue, and I recommend making your first Impact MX without Superglue because it tends to make really simple modding mistakes irreversible. Here are the tools you will need. Let's get started. Take your RSVP and completely disassemble the pen. Remove the logo using some rubbing alcohol. In a few seconds, the logo should start rubbing off. In the end, your barrel should look something like this. Hollow out the back plug using an X-Acto knife. Start from the center and spiral outwards. In the end, your back plug should look something like this. Now take your ink tube and put it in the back plug. Put your back plug back on the pen. Now take your RSVP cap and remove the clip. Bend the clip and twist it so that it will break off. Trim and file the clip as needed. Now take your RSVP grip and cut 4 millimeters off the front. Now take your HGGs and remove the tips and the grips. Cut the rings off both HGG grips. Now take one of your HGG grips and cut 1.2 centimeters off of it. The grip remainder should be 1.9 centimeters. Now it's time to color and glue the rings in the following pattern. Take 5 washers and paint 2 of them silver and 3 of them black. Now take your screw and paint the bottom part black. Let these parts dry for about 10 minutes. Now take some super glue and put it on the base of the screw. Now take one of your black washers and put it on the screw. Take some super glue and put it on top of the washer. Now take one of your silver washers and put it on the screw. Put some super glue on top of the washer. Place another silver washer on top of the screw assembly. Apply more super glue. Now take a black washer and put it on the screw assembly. Apply more super glue. Take your last black washer and put it on the screw assembly. In the end, your screw assembly should look something like this. Now take your HGG grip that is 1.9 centimeters. If you are using superglue, apply glue to one end of the grip and clamp it in half. When clamping, make sure you leave one end open. Now apply superglue to the open end of the grip. Now take your screw assembly and clamp it into the grip. Now superglue the last HGG section to your screw assembly. Now let this dry for 2 to 3 hours. I will note that I don't recommend doing the supergluing step where you superglue this last piece of HGG grip right here. to the screw assembly because I think the Impact MX feels a lot better when you put a penwish O-ring over the bottom of the screw assembly right here, which I do in my personal Impact MX, and then you put the last piece of HGG grip under the penwish O-ring, than just putting the grip straight on. I feel like this feels a lot more clunky even if you super glue all of it together and put them all in the cap. From personal experience, I don't think it feels as good as just putting a penwish O-ring and then sliding this grip under. This is just a personal recommendation after owning an Impact MX for a long time. It's just something I wanted to say because I personally don't like how the Impact MX originally feels, because when you put it all together, it just feels really clunky and it doesn't feel smooth to spin at all. Now take your 2 HGG rings and your RSVP grip and tape them like this. Apply some super glue into the inside of the grip assembly. Now apply some pressure to the grips so that they'll stick together. Let this dry for 2 to 3 hours. Now take one of your rubber bands and cut it to 1.8 centimeters. Now take some tape and tape one end of the rubber band. Apply some super glue to the very edge of the rubber band. Now fold the rubber band into a circle. Apply more super glue as needed. In the end, your rubber band should look something like this. Now make sure everything dries for 2 to 3 hours. Now take your screw assembly and remove the clip. Push the screw assembly into the cap. Now take the remainder of the HGG grip and put it in the cap. If you're not using any super glue, fold this grip in half using a binder clip for 3 to 4 hours. If you're not using super glue, go ahead and put the grip in the cap. Push the screw assembly into the cap. Put the last piece of HGG grip into the cap. Now take your grip assembly and remove the tape. Take this grip assembly and put it on the front of the body. Now take your glue or sticky tack and put it on the front of the body. Take one of your HGG tips and put it on the front. Remove any of the excess. Apply sticky tack to the HGG tip. Put the other HGG tip on the front of the body. Remove any of the excess. Now take your Impact RT and remove the tip and the grip. Now take your rubber band and put it inside the Impact RT tip. Take your hot glue gun and put hot glue onto the HGG tip. Now take your Impact RT tip and put it on the front. Take your Impact RT or Spoko grip and put it on the front. Now cut out your Impact MX insert. I recommend using scissors to cut out your insert because there's a lot of really hard curvy details to cut out and they're easier to cut with scissors. I recommend cutting the tab side first so you don't accidentally cut it off while cutting the insert. Now take your black Sharpie and color in the edge of the curvy side of your insert. Now take your back cap and put it on the pen. Take a rubber band and find the center of gravity and mark it with a piece of tape. Now take a silver Sharpie and mark on the ink tube approximately where you think the center of gravity is. Now check to see if your mark lines up with the center of gravity mark on the body. If your mark lines up, go ahead and tape your insert to your ink tube exactly where the center of gravities meet. Now roll up your insert and reassemble the pen. Check again to make sure that your insert lines up with the center of gravity. If your insert lines up, your pen mod is done. If you want to waterproof your Impact MX, you will have to apply flowable silicone to the inside of the back plug and to the front tip of the RSVP body. If you plan to do this step when you're making your mod, make sure you apply the flowable silicone before you assemble the front tips right here, and after you put the insert inside the barrel. And there you go. That's how you make an Impact MX. If you didn't use Superglue and your screw assembly rattles a little bit, you can go ahead and put a penwish O-ring on the head of the screw. Five or six number 6S brass washers. That's actually a lot to say.